And speaking of that, I wanted to save this for last because I wasn't sure if we are going to get to it, but we're going to talk about Batman, the animated series, and the comics.
We're still going to talk about like audiobooks too, but we'll go with this.
Yeah. But we were talking about it a little bit through text about you not being the biggest fan of the Batman animated series because of the way it ended. And
not just the way it ended.
What they did to Tim Drake.
Not just the way it ended.
But yeah, go ahead. Explain yourself.
Okay. So it's the way it ended. I'm not a big fan of. I feel like I'm not the only person that says that though, because like a lot of people don't like the way it ended. Like Joker trying to turn Tim Drake into the Joker was kind of like stupid. Like I really didn't like that. I'm also not a big Batman Beyond fan, either in the comics or the TV show. Like I didn't like either of them. Give me a sec. Also, the mistreatment of Tim Drake. And I go off on this. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on podcast, but I talk to you about this a lot off podcast, off stream. DC hates Tim Drake so much. And he's literally my favorite DC character. So I'm like, stop treating him horribly. Tim Drake has never gotten a good animated adaptation. Even in Young Justice, he still doesn't have, it's still not his, he's better in Young Justice than anything else, but it's still not good. It's still not a good adaptation of Tim Drake. And he's also pushed to the side. Like, not even pushed to the side. He's like a tertiary character. And I'm like, come on now, what? And so, but in Batman the Animated Series, he was a mix of Jason Todd and Tim Drake. He wasn't even really Tim Drake.
For me, like, essentially, I understand why you don't like it. And I feel like it stems from the fact that he's always mistreated. Like, if there were other good examples of him in animated series that were fantastic, then like let's say if there were two other shows he were in and he was like the greatest character in that show. If he was bad in this, if he was different, because I don't even think he's bad in these shows, he's just very different and like you said, not treated the way he should be. And he's not treated as like in Batman the animated series, he just really isn't Tim Drake. He's like you said, a combination of Jason Todd and Tim Drake, and that's basically I wouldn't
even say he's a combination. Because literally the more I think about it, he's just Jason Todd in a Tim Drake skin with the Tim Drake name. Like he's not even really Tim. Like
my personal opinion, that 100% they should have just named him Jason Todd. He should.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, bro, what?
He should have.
And like the reason behind why they didn't is kind of stupid too, because they were like, oh, if we name him Jason Todd, then we know he's gonna have to get killed, and that's a little dark for a kid's show. But then they wind up including Red Hood in the comics, and the adventure continues. So I'm like,
the thing about that also being a little dark for a kid's show is that then years later they made a movie where he gets electrocuted.
Yes, you literally see him break.
Yeah, and then he murders the Joker. And then I'm like, what? Yeah. Oh, that's too dark for a kid's show, huh? Like, that might as well have been Jason Todd. Like, I understand your problem with it, but to me it's just like, he should have just had a different name. Otherwise, I don't mind it. Like that whole storyline of him being turned into like a mini Joker and then killing the Joker and then like the Joker somehow being a genius and managing to turn Tim Drake, well basically Jason Todd, into himself again was odd. But you know, a lot of people love that movie. Like people. Like,
I don't understand.
I like that. I was actually going to watch it before this podcast, but I didn't have enough time. But yeah, I also like that movie. I'm going to watch it again at some point this week. But I understand why you're not a fan of it, because they essentially just don't give Tim Drake his just dues.
They never do, ever. I'm like,
also,
even in the comics right now is probably the worst offense ever. They made Tim Robin again, which I'm already not a fan of because Tim never wanted to be anything but Robin. But when he became Red Robin back in 2009, it felt like the natural evolution of his character. And it was like he was forced to grow up when he didn't want to. And I was fine with that. That was awesome. That was like great character development right there. So they made him Robin again, which I'm already not a fan of. Now he's like 16, 17, pushing 18, and they're drawing him younger than Damian, and he acts like he's 12. And I'm like, he's like one of the most mature members of the Bat family. He's supposed to be like the most like Bruce out of everybody, but he's acting like a literal child, and he's drawn younger than Damian. And I'm like, why? What? His
Robin, his Robin comic by Chuck Dixon has one of the coolest covers I've ever seen in my life.
Where it's him and he has the cloak and it's covering him. Batman's in the background, yeah.
And Batman's just has his arm crossed in the background. It is one of the coolest comic book covers I've ever seen.
Chuck Dixon knows the Bat family. I don't understand. Is Chuck Dixon dead? I'm pretty sure he's still alive. He needs to come back to DC, desperately.
Other than that, though, I think that, like I said, I've been rewatching it recently. That show is fantastic. And when you, it's so good that episodes feel longer than they are. Like, the episodes
are not going to say that I don't like it.
They're all 25 minutes, but sometimes they could feel 45 minutes long because you feel like you're just watching a movie. They're so good.
I'm not going to say I don't like it because I do like the show. I am a fan of the show. I have most of the show on DVD. I do like the show. It's just there are a lot of elements in the show that I don't like and I'm not a fan of. And then a lot of episodes, especially in the first series, because Batman the Animated Series, the one with Tim Drake is Batman: The Adventure Continues or something or
New Adventures of Batman.
Yeah, The New Adventures of Batman. Also, Bruce Timm kept trying to push a relationship between Barbara Gordon and Bruce Wayne, and that was just really gross. And then it wound up happening in the comics. We're not going to talk about the Batman Animated Series comics. That
is the worst part of that entire universe. I hated it.
Bruce Timm just is really he's really insistent on a lot.
I hated it, and I was watching a video earlier, which I'm going to shout out this channel because they're dope, but this one person was kind of weird about it. But he was basically, the channel was Watchtower Database. And
I watch him all the time.
Yeah, I was going to have to keep up with the most recent Batman: The Adventures Continue comic that is based in that universe, bringing in Jason Todd, which was unnecessary, by the way. Because like you said, Tim Drake is basically Jason Todd, and they basically literally, it's horrible. I'm not even going to talk about that. But essentially, he started talking about the Barbara and Bruce relationship, and he was talking about how the people who wrote Ty Templeton and Dan Slott did a 17-issue run in Batman, the Batman Adventures comic, in the early 2000s, and he was saying that he felt like Ty Templeton and Dan Slott would have done a better job of writing, or not even them. It was someone else who guest wrote on the story who he thought could do a better job of writing Batman and Barbara's relationship, and I was like, the only way somebody could do a better job at that is by not doing it at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only better job is just don't do it at all.
And he was so insistent upon it. And I was like, no, bro. He was saying he doesn't think it's weird as people think it. I was like, no, man, it's weird.
Yeah, no, he basically helped raise her. She's his best friend's daughter. They basically have a parental relationship. No,
that's her uncle. Which makes it doubly weird. It's weird, and the whole thing with Nightwing in the middle of all that makes it even weirder.
Yeah, it's your son's girlfriend who he's in love, bro.
Yeah, but I love Nightwing's design in that show. I don't really.
I don't like it. The long hair, the mullet. I hate it.
I like the mullet. I like the mullet.
I hate the mullet.
I like Nightwing more mullet. I love that universe. Besides, like I said, that is my least favorite part of that universe. But you said yourself you like
I like the Justice League side of the universe. I don't like the Batman side of the universe as much. There's still stuff I love about it, but there's just a lot that I'm not a fan of. Ironically, and this is something I read online, I have no idea if it's true or not, but most of what people love about Batman the Animated Series that they give Bruce Timm credit for, or about that whole universe that they give Bruce Timm credit for, actually wasn't made or written by Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm actually didn't do all that much for it, but it's this one guy. It was this one black guy. I don't remember what his name is, but it's he was the person responsible for 90% of what people love about that universe. And I'm that's the coolest thing ever. And it makes so much more sense that every time Bruce Timm is full creative control, he always does something ridiculously weird. Harley Quinn basically being predatory on Nightwing, or Barbara Gordon and Bruce Wayne having a relationship. Bruce Timm always makes the weirdest stuff happen whenever he has creative control. And that makes more sense to me now.
Was it Dwayne Duffy? Dwayne McDuffie?
Yes, Dwayne Duffy, yes.
We talked about that in episode
We did talk about that.
Dwayne McDuffie wrote on a lot of the DC cartoons, especially Justice League and Batman. And of course that is shot because he created that character. Yeah. And he wrote on Ben 10, he wrote on Young Justice, he wrote on a lot of the most popular and good and famous animated DC cartoons. Dwayne McDuffie is a big part of that universe and just how good it is. Also, Paul Dini, of course.
Paul Dini too, yeah.
is a big part of.
They are
and there are
both of them are more responsible.
There are a bunch of other writers and directors on that show. Like Bruce Timm isn't like he may have started it, but he isn't the end all be all for that universe.
He's also not the best one on that team. Honestly, I could argue for him being like the worst thing to happen to like he started it, but like he's not good. Like it's not like
it's like what's her name that made Harry Potter? J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling. Like but that's the thing though. J.K. Rowling does obviously make Harry Potter good, and she is she's the sole writer for most of that, but that's like Bruce Timm getting credit for all that stuff when he's not the person that makes the majority of the stuff that people love about it. You know what I mean? Like that, there's the difference in that. And it's just like, go ahead though.
No, I'm just saying I love there's not much I dislike about the Batman shows. I like most of it, other than that barber stuff. It's weird to me. But
so weird.
I also love Justice League. I want to watch Superman, but it's not on HBO yet. So
I love Superman the animated series. Now that is a great show. I don't have any hate against it.
I want more serious in that universe. I want Wonder Woman. We talked about the Green Arrow Black Canary show 1,000 times.
I feel like if they retcon Batman Beyond to being like a possible future and like cut out like the end of that timeline, I would actually have a lot more fun with it, because it's like I was talking about with Wonder Woman, there's only so much that you can enjoy about a certain segment when you know the future of where it's going to lead to.
Yeah.
And so if they were to cut out the end of that series, I would have a whole lot more fun with it.
I just, like you said, that could easily be retconned because it's so far in the future. It could easily just go, like you said, that's just a potential future. It doesn't have to be the definitive future. And that would be an easy way to retcon tons of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just want to talk about that. The Adventures Continue. Jason Todd was such an unnecessary addition to the universe. He didn't need to be there. We basically already had Jason Todd in their version of Tim Drake. Plus, this story is just bad. And I'm upset to say that Ty Templeton even works on it, because his 17-issue run with Dan Slott and a few other writers on the Batman Adventures, which I'm going to read when I get a tablet, is they're good. People enjoy them. But he's only an artist on this. He doesn't write, but Paul Dini does. And Paul Dini, even though we were just praising him, he makes some mistakes in this. It was him and someone else. I can't remember their name. But he makes tons of mistakes in this. And essentially, it's a bunch of continuity problems, not even in the greater DCAU, but even within this specific story itself, they can't follow their own continuity of what's happening. And it's so weird. He was such a... I feel like there was a way to include him that could have worked, but at the same time, he didn't need to be there. Like, Deathstroke's a cool addition. His design is dope. The way they went about it was horrible. It saddens me, because I still stand by the fact that the title is a good name for like a sequel series, like Batman: The
Adventure Continue.